Good 2 days of work so far. I mean, Monday was a good day of work as well. A really intense practice day. Finish off with the red area period. That was a lot of fun. Seeing our guys compete, so we're going to open it up. Yeah, I mean, we've been able to see some really good ones so far this year. I think the size is probably different for these guys. You know, they have great size, and you know that's something that shows up. You know, and they're able to get into some sub packages on third down that can create some issues. But obviously, a talented player.
Dan, 2 turnovers going into your 9th game is a pretty remarkable stat. What do you attribute mostly to that stat?
Well, good quarterback play, good play calling, guys that are conscientious of taking care of the ball in practice. You know, we have a ball security coach. Coach Locke takes that very serious. We work it every single week, but I think every team in the nation works it every week. Some of it's probably good fortune, right? And some of it's about us continuing to focus on it and making it a big detail. You know, when you don't turn the ball over, you have a chance to win, and that's something we want to continue to emphasize.
To that point, how impressive was it that it was a full season and almost more than a half that a running back had to put the ball on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, that's the expectation, right? It's the expectation, and we're going to continue to push to make sure that's the expectation.
You mentioned on Saturday the offensive line no longer being a question. I wanted to ask you just how the guys who lead that room, Lee, Mike, Cutter, kind of how they complement each other well and what that group does so well.
Yeah, we call it the law firm, right? We've got, Coach Terry. What up, baby? Yeah, the law firm. Cutter obviously does a phenomenal job. He's a great young coach. We have some experience in that room with Coach Kavanaugh that's been doing it for a long time. He brings phenomenal juice. He's our toughness coach for this team. And then Coach Terry, I think, is likable, learnable, and our guys have really taken to his approach. The details those guys emphasize, the way that unit plays is a cohesive unit. I mean, I think that really comes from those 3 guys. So they've done a great job this year. Excited to see what they continue to do.
Who came up with that law firm nickname?
I honestly have no idea who came up with the law firm, but it fits. It fits.
How similar is what Spavital was doing offensively there to what Kenny did here a year ago? It's the same tree of guys. So like how similar is it to a lot of the things that you've seen or that you've had yourself?
Yeah, I honestly think it's actually quite a bit different. You know, they're a little bit more of an air raid team, but they've incorporated some of the run game that they've used in North Texas, a couple other places. A lot of Y in the core runs. They've had a lot of success with hat plays. You know, putting the ball inside with a tight end insert and then throwing the ball in the perimeter. But there's definitely some differences. The tempo is a big difference. How fast they go. Like I said, they've run more plays I think than anybody in our conference. And what they've really changed from last year to this year, they've been able to get the run game going. You know, so they've done a really good job with the run game.
I know we've asked you a few times about how frequently you guys rotate defensive linemen. Just how beneficial is that at this point in the year when you guys are relatively fresh and a lot of things aren't?
Yeah, it's beneficial. The more guys you can play, the fresher they can be when they're on the field. The higher level of play that they can emphasize and execute is really important.
Is it hard to get guys to buy into that early in the year when you got a bunch of competitive dudes who want to play 60 snaps a game?
No, I mean, proof's in the pudding, right? I mean, if you're honest and open with, hey, here's our plan, here's how we're going to execute it, I think guys understand that and they want to go out there and do it.
You speak to Keon's buy-in and unselfishness in that regard, because a lot of guys in his position may not look to stay when you're the 5th or 6th guy, but to buy in and see a role and be delivering when he is out there for you guys.
Yeah, Keon's a leader for us. I mean, he's part of our leadership group because he does all the right things. You know, because when he does get in the game, he finds ways to impact play and impact the ball and coach on the sideline. And when he's in the game, he's able to execute movements. And I'd say there's a lot of guys that are in that category that play at a really high level when they get their number called, execute at a high level, and then have high expectations for their teammates and challenge their teammates to be really good as well.
What's the impact when you have the number 1, number 2 offense, whatever category, when you have an offense like that, Troy specifically, recruiting at the receiver position, when historically that had not been a position of great strength here historically, and you're going about changing it, what does it mean in the recruiting trail when you can sell, hey, we have a 1,000-yard receiver who might be a Lindenkoff finalist potentially? Yeah,
just that the history has nothing to do with who we are now, right? And if you watch who we are now, I think it's really evident that we're a high attacking offense. We pass the ball down the field. We run the ball really well. So if you're an offensive player, that's something you probably want to be a part of. And you can't necessarily look at the past and see what the future holds, right? What you can do is look at the present and say, okay, that's probably an indication of what they're going to continue to do.
In the context of how good Troy is, and comparing him to other guys nationally, there are other receivers who are just more household names, probably going to get a little bit more love. There might be a Heisman finalist. And the Pac-12 pass defenses outside of your own are not that strong this year. So how do you put in context exactly how good he is? Because like he's leading the country in receiving yards against winning teams. A couple of teams. So
well, probably leaning on that stat that you just pulled, right? Leading the country in receiving yards versus winning teams. He's a good player, and all you have to do is turn on the film and you can see that. He's been a good player for us ever since I've been here, and he's elevated his play this year from last season. I think that's evident when you watch him.
Oh, Coach Kavanaugh, the toughness coach. Explain what that means exactly.
We say we want to be a tough program, and I think there's a lot of details that go into being a tough program. But toughness is coming up and showing up to practice every day. Not taking a play off. Finishing a play. That's something that we coach in this program, right? And we want to make sure that we see it. So when you put one person in charge of it, they can identify it and make sure that you're doing it right.
What goes into the prep work for going against Cal and that RPO-heavy offense? I don't expect you to give some exact details, but what goes into some of that prep work for the RPOs?
Yeah, just ultimately what I said earlier in the week, that almost every play has two plays, right? There's a pass play and there's a run play involved. And the quarterback has full discretion on where he takes the ball, if he's handing it off or he's throwing it outside. So it means it's really complementary play. It means 11 guys doing their job, right, and executing at a high level for you to be able to take away the plays that they do successfully.
Last question. When you're looking into transfer or any player, recruit for that matter, their pass, if they may have a instance of some maturity issues, some transgressions maybe off the field, it just goes into clearing somebody of that to where you feel comfortable bringing out somebody who might have, like I said, relatively minor issues with that.
Yeah, I would say, we evaluate each person individually and their circumstance individually. I would say that if you went back and looked at my past when I was younger, I probably made some mistakes as well, and I'm glad that people took chances on me and kept growing me. We're going to do that same thing, but ultimately, it's more about the personality and the character fit of what kind of person that is, bringing that into our program. We want to bring good people in here. I got 3 boys that are running around this building all the time, and I want them to be around good people. So you can assess what good people are. And as you go through that recruiting process, we want to find good people that we can bring into our program that are going to buy into our culture and what we're about.
Thank you.